Joining me right now is Sean Shaw. He is running for Florida Attorney General in what should be an interesting and perhaps close race in Florida. Obviously, the governor's race there also very important, interesting, and potentially close. So, Sean, welcome to the program.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have what I would view to be great proposals if you win. I want to get to those soon, but first I want to talk about your opponent a little bit, Ashley Moody. So she's backing Pam Bondi, who's been term limited out here. Pam Bondi, well-known despicable character in national politics, unfortunately, in my opinion, from Florida. Her defense of abortion restrictions passed by the legislature. She wants to join the lawsuit to destroy Obamacare. But I get it. She's a terrible Republican. Who isn't? But the part that still gets me is, and I know that this should be just as obvious, but I have trouble believing. So she still supports Stand Your Ground. She looks at Stand Your Ground in the state of Florida, thinks this is working really well. Is that really the case?
That's really the case. I'm at a loss, just like you are. Republicans seem to be so slow to react to this cycle that is upon them. And you're right. I mean, I was one of the people that was at the church when we had the parents and Al Sharpton and a bunch of other people, and we worshiped and called for a change in the Stand Your Ground laws. And we had 5 people running for governor at the time. Every single one of them showed up. Republicans either were silent or they went back in their NRA cages and said, yeah, we support Stand Your Ground. And listen, I don't know if your viewers have seen it. I've seen the video many times of Brother Marquise McLaughlin getting gunned down in a Clearwater gas station parking lot for doing nothing more than standing up for his family. And that's wrong, and I'll do everything I can to repeal that law.
Yeah, no, we showed it over and over again.
Right.
People getting gunned down when there was absolutely no need. It's sickening. So now let's talk about what you would do if you win as Attorney General. Now, there's a couple of issues that you would work on that would be very relevant to the national stage. I want to get to Trump in a second, but first off, you have as your #1 priority going after the pharmaceutical companies. So
right,
why? And just tell us more about that.
I mean, here in Florida, as in a lot of states, the pharmaceutical industry has simply flooded Florida with opioids. And not only have they flooded them with opioids, the marketing behind those opioids are often false, deceptive, claiming that they're not habit forming, and have led to really an opioid crisis here in Florida and other places. One of the few things that I would continue that Pam Bondi has done was that lawsuit. There's been a lawsuit filed against Big Pharma to go after them for this opioid crisis. I would continue to do that, but you've probably hit on the only thing that I would continue that Pam Bondi has done.
Yeah, and I think that there's also differences in degree in how aggressively you can go after the pharmaceutical companies. And
exactly. I mean, that's one of the cases we make in this race is, look, I intend to be the most aggressive Attorney General in the country. That's what I'm running to be. I'm not running to be anything less. And I'm pretty transparent with that. And I tell people in mixed audiences and wherever I speak, Florida, you elect me, you're gonna get an aggressive Attorney General. If you don't want that, then maybe I'm not your guy. But when I'm around talking to people and the numbers and all the feelings we have here on the ground, people want a change. They want someone that is aggressive, and they want someone that's gonna hold everyone accountable.
Yeah, it's about protecting people's lives. Opioid deaths spiked by over 35% in just 2016 in Florida. So,
bingo.
Yeah, and that's what an Attorney General is supposed to do, protect the citizens of the state. So now, there's also issues of criminal justice reform. So talk to us about your different stances on the issues involved within criminal justice reform.
Look, when I say that I am for criminal justice reform, I mean everything. I mean bail reform. I mean mandatory minimums. I mean how we charge juveniles as adults. How we ought to be really trying to have people go to substance abuse rather than just lock them up. Our jails in Florida, and I bet other places around the country, just full of people with nothing but simple possession charges. We've got to do something about it. And quite frankly, I've got to make the legislature change some laws here in Florida, and hopefully we can work with the next Democratic governor to get that done too. Florida is in for some wonderful changes In a lot of ways, this is simply one of them. I was talking to an audience early today, and I said, if you believe in criminal justice reform, you will elect Democrats at the top of the ticket because we are the ones that will get it done. Republicans have been in charge here in Florida 20 years. They talk about criminal justice reform. I have seen none of it yet. I'm a member of the state legislature. We've done nothing on criminal justice reform. It will not happen until we elect different people, regardless of the speeches and pontification and wonderful flowery language you hear. Nothing has happened here in Florida, and it won't until we elect different people.
So you've got a variety of interesting people backing you. Move On is backing you. Kamala Harris, Moms Demand Action. The Miami Herald, they've endorsed you?
Correct. We've gotten the Miami Herald. We've gotten the Sun Sentinel. We've gotten the Palm Beach Post. We've gotten a lot of newspapers. Look, these are different things on the ground here in Florida. These are different times. This is not normal. What you're seeing on the ground here in Florida is simply nothing short of amazing. I mean, I was in Flagler County last night and the room was packed. And for your listeners and viewers, Flagler County, I didn't know had that many Democrats. And so everywhere we go, the energy on the ground is amazing. I've been a Democrat in Florida. I am born and raised in Florida. I've never seen anything like this. Times are changing. The people of Florida want something different than what they've had, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Representative Shaw, when Rick DeSantis now made that infamous comment about how the people of Florida should not monkey around with the race, given that Andrew Gillum, his opponent, is African American, do you think that wound up backfiring on him, that it's energized a lot of people to show up to the polls?
Absolutely. A black man is nominated governor, and in less than 12 hours, a racial comment is made. Of course, that has motivated us, but it's not just that. It's 20 years of that. It's 20 years of that compounded by Trump, who is the worst of the worst. But let me also say this. Politicians are very careful with what we say. Politicians know every word that come out of their mouth is parsed and looked over. And if you think monkey around was an accident, then you and I disagree. It was on purpose, it was a dog whistle, and it's straight out of the playbook of Donald Trump. That's what he does, that's how he won. He won by dividing us. And we're gonna take it back by uniting those against him, uniting good people to back up what the American dream is. And we're gonna win in Florida because we've got a vision for people of what to vote for, not just what to vote against.
Yeah, Representative Shaw, I am going to disagree with you a little bit. It was not a dog whistle; it was a human whistle. We could all hear it. Okay,
Bingo.
It was clear as day. And I said on the show immediately that was on purpose. They thought it's going to motivate their own voters, who they believe apparently are racist, to come up and show up and vote for them. But I think he miscalculated. I think there's a lot more good people in Florida than there are the people he was trying to appeal to. But you brought up Trump. This is very important in your particular race. Trump has a lot of businesses in Florida. I'm not overly convinced that he's been handling them above board. Would you be investigating his businesses if you became Florida Attorney General?
That's the greatest question we've got today, man. Of course, we've made a huge point of the fact that it is illegal to personally profit from the presidency. It's the Emoluments Clause to the United States Constitution. The Democratic attorney generals in Washington, D.C. and in Maryland have filed suit. That suit has survived several procedural attacks, and it's still going on. Florida will be the next state to join the minute I'm elected. And there's Mar-a-Lago in Florida. There's Trump Towers in Florida. There's a myriad of businesses and charitable organizations. There's questions about how those charities are paying funds that aren't necessarily charitable in Trump's case. We are absolutely going to do that. And listen, we're going to do it because as Attorney General, I'm going to go after anyone that's doing wrong, no matter who you are or where you are. And we're going to get to the bottom of whether the president is profiting from the presidency.
Yeah, it's maddening to the average citizen to see that there are some folks who appear to be too big to jail. And when too often in this country, when attorney generals talk about crime, they only mean physical crime or blue collar crime, but they never talk about white collar crime. Wouldn't it be great to have an attorney general that represents everybody and goes after every kind of crime?
You know, listen, my background politically and personally is I've been a consumer advocate all of my life. All I've done are represent working families and represent consumers against big corporate interests. That's what I've done all my life. That's why this race is kind of how it's unfolded. That's why I'm getting attacked pretty heavily by you know who. It's because I think they understand that I'm going to hold everyone accountable. I've said there's no need to be scared of an Attorney General Sean Shaw if you're doing right. If you're not doing anything wrong, you're not going to hear from me. But if you are doing something wrong, I don't care how big you are, what kind of company you are, where you are going to hear from me. And that's how an Attorney General ought to act. This is not the office for someone that doesn't have political courage. This is not the office if you don't want to be aggressive. This is not the office if you want to get along with everybody. And all of those things I've made clear, we intend to use this office to as much power as it contains to go after people doing wrong.
Music to my ears. It might be Florida, but Winter and Sean Shaw are coming.
Nice.
for at least the wrongdoers. All right, everybody, the website is SeanShaw.com. And of course, you can donate and volunteer as well. Makes a huge difference if you volunteer and donate to causes you believe in and to people who are going to represent you. Representative Shaw, thank you so much for joining us.
It was an honor to be on. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.